Dak is great, and I always say it's a little fool's gold. He had a great running game. He plays with a lead. He was more comfortable in the pocket. The secondary for the Eagles was all beat up. I kind of feel like this Dak win was a sugar rush, and there's always a crash after that. I think a little bit of it was perfect circumstances, in my opinion. What do the films say?
I would agree with that based on tape study, and I think the tape study tells you about Dak pretty much every week. He always leaves throws on the field that are there by not turning it loose because he's not a true anticipation thrower. He needs to feel very comfortable that the receiver's open before he turns it loose. Now, he is an NFL quarterback, so he's going to make throws. He's a starting NFL quarterback. But for the most part, he doesn't have great vision in the pocket, and he waits. He's a waiter. So that will always be a little bit of a hindrance to his game. But I think getting Amari Cooper will help because he can win one-on-one.
Yes.
And that's the way their offense is built. It's an individual isolation route offense, and Amari Cooper is a really good route runner, and he can win one-on-one.
By the way, Philadelphia, one game they've scored over 25 this year. They did it a dozen times last year. It does seem to me that Carson Wentz doesn't get quite the protection up front. They've had injuries on the perimeter in the backfield. Is it just a personnel thing, a scheme thing? What's wrong with Philadelphia's offense?
I think it's scheme-based, Colin. Don't forget they lost Frank Reich and John DiFilippo. They have Mike Groves in his first year as a coordinator. You don't see the same staple route concepts and combinations as you did a year ago. Last year, you could say, hey, what are the Eagles staples? And you'd immediately come up with 4 or 5 route concepts that they ran every week. And in the run game, we used to talk last year about how diverse and multiple they were in the run game. You don't see that this year. So I think it's more scheme-based because I personally think Carson Wentz is playing very, very well.
Oh, so do I. I love Carson Wentz. But, like, to your point, NBA dynasties die because of egos. Kobe, Shaq don't get along. NFL dynasties die because you have injuries, free agency, and you lose really good coordinators, and they just don't quite feel the same. Now, speaking of feeling sensational, Rams-Chiefs will put on a show. It was going to be in Mexico City. They've moved it now to Los Angeles. I do feel like, now hear me out, this is weird. I do feel like, not that the league's figured out the Rams, but the way to beat the Rams is run at them like Seattle did twice, take Goff off the field, and they don't have a wildly complex offense. They just do a few things brilliantly well. I like Kansas City in this matchup. Not that the league's figured out the Rams, but I think we're a little ahead of ourselves on the Rams. They're not the Warriors. They can't mail it in and win games. What does the tape say on these two?
Well, I think it's a fascinating sort of combination of offenses because they're different. Obviously, they're both very good. I would say that the Rams are not that complicated. It's a word I don't like to use, but complicated. They line up in 11 personnel on almost every snap, 3 wide receivers on the field. They run a lot of tight splits. They run the outside zone run game, and they run jet motion. So what they're trying to do is expand the defense horizontally, stretch the defense vertically, create voids in the middle. That's what they do. And they minimize the pass rush with the zone run game. The Chiefs, on the other hand, are incredibly multiple with their formations, their personnel, where they line people up. Tyreek Hill can line up in the inside slot to trips. He's really hard to defend. They are far more multiple in what they do. It's not a gimmick thing, but they line people up all over, and that makes it harder to defend. So they're different. 2 really good offenses that are totally different.
Okay, Seahawks tonight host Green Bay. You had talked about Russell Wilson this year being more of a complementary piece. Last week I watched them against the Rams, and boy, they had clearly put in several quarterback run situations. They had spotted something with the Rams, not only running the football against them, but Russell, there were several plays, a half dozen, where I felt like, even though he dropped back to pass, he really wanted to run the football. Like his mind was made up, which I don't know if it's designed or not. You still feel that he's mostly a complimentary piece this year?
I do. I think that's their approach. They've run the ball more than any team in the NFL. They've got the most shotgun runs of any team in the NFL. They're a running team. Now, I thought last week they added some zone read elements to that, and he did have some zone read runs. A lot of his runs came later in the game when they were coming back. If he saw open space, he took it, figuring he'd gain some yards. But my sense is that they want to be a running team, a physical attitude running team, ideally play good defense, and Wilson can sort of be a complement to that. I don't think they want him to be a runner as a priority in their offense.
Yeah. By the way, Green Bay tonight.
Yeah.
Aaron's never won in Seattle. And I said this the other day, and I'm not sure it's right, but I said it. I said, listen, certain things in the NFL travel well. Running games travel.
Yep.
Running games mean you have extended drives. You quiet the crowd. You take their star quarterback off the field. Green Bay doesn't run the ball generally with great acumen over the last 4 or 5 years. I think it's very hard to win in this league if you have to throw 38 times. That's my takeaway why Green Bay last 7 years is sub 500 on the road with Aaron Rodgers. That's my whole takeaway. Do you buy any of that?
I do. And in fact, this year, and up until I think this week, Aaron Rodgers on average was dropping back more than 45 times per game.
That's terrible. That's not good for anybody.
No, that's not good for anybody. You're right. That's too many. So we'll see how they go moving forward. Obviously, Jones last week had a big game. I like Aaron Jones. I remember watching him coming out of UTEP. Yep. I don't know if you saw him.
No, I did not.
I thought that, and this is going to sound crazy because who I'm going to compare him to, but only in one regard. I think he was similar to Frank Gore in his ability to get through small creases at the point of attack and then reaccelerate through the second level. And I think that Jones is very, very good at that. And I'd like to see their offense be more balanced. I think it needs to be.
Yeah, I think Green Bay's 42-11 when Aaron Rodgers throws fewer than 30 times. And they're much closer to 500 when he throws over that. So to your point or my point, a running game makes everybody better, including Aaron Rodgers. Now, everybody loves Sean McVay. He's in L.A. They got Todd Gurley. It's the entertainment capital of the world. But I'm watching Matt Nagy in Chicago with Trubisky, a guy I didn't love out of college. I'm still not sure I love. I could make an argument it's way more impressive what Matt Nagy's doing with Trubisky in that offense and those pieces than what McVay's doing in L.A. Your thoughts?
Well, here's what always sort of bothers me, not about what you just said, but I think that it's the coaching staff's job to put a scheme together that enhances the skill sets of their players. That doesn't mean a player is a system player. That's the coach's job, is it not?
Yeah, no, it is.
So, I didn't love Mitchell Trubisky coming out of college either. I don't think he's a purely natural thrower of the football. Goff is a much more natural thrower of the football than Trubisky is. But clearly, scheme-wise, particularly against zone concepts, they do such a good job that it presents defined throws and reads for Trubisky. And the one thing he's shown, he's a very good seam thrower, and those can be tough throws, but he's made a number of those throws. I'm very anxious to see where this goes because they've got some weapons.
You like their weapons?
Well, I really liked Anthony Miller coming out of Memphis.
Okay, well, that's your big play of the week. So give us your play of the week. It's the Bears.
All right, let's run it then right now, and we can start it right away. This was a touchdown to Anthony Miller, and it was a 45-yard touchdown, I believe. Obviously, he's wide open when he catches the ball, but there's a reason he's wide open. And what they did here is they ran what we call trips bunch. You see 3 Bears there. Allen Robinson is the point man in the bunch. So now he's being played man-to-man by Nevin Lawson. So now what you have with the rest of the bunch is you have Tyler Gabriel on the outside, and right now he's being played man-to-man by Deshaun Shedd. And then on the inside, you're going to have Anthony Miller played man-to-man by Quandre Diggs. But what the bunch does is it can cause some problems for how you play this, because you can either play stay in man coverage or play what we call the releases of the 2 outside receivers, so to speak. So what happens here is you see that Diggs allows his man, Miller, to run by him, playing the inside release of Taylor Gabriel. So he gives up his man to play the release. Now Deshaun Shedd, he doesn't play the release. He stays with his man, which was Gabriel. So Miller's wide open. So they got caught playing bunch. They got caught playing, one guy played man all the way through, the other guy played the release, and they got caught. That's what you try to do, Colin, when you do the trips bunch. You can't count on that happening, but that's one thing that could happen. You get them stuck, mixed between playing the man and playing the releases.
Yeah. They're clever. I mean, I watched them. They're clever. I'll say, again, Trubisky's ball dies to me. He doesn't, some
Well,
guys...
you're right about that. His deep balls lose energy on the back end.
Yeah, no, I mean, his ball dies. And it's like Mahomes gains steam, his dies.
Well, that's because he's a locked front leg thrower. He locks his front leg when he throws, and you can't drive the football when you do that.
Greg Cosell, great stuff. 15 minutes NFL meat sandwich. Great talking to you, Greg.
Thanks, Colin.
Coming up next, we're going to see something tonight between the Packers and the Seahawks, and it is a baton, and it's being handed to somebody else. And it is a definitive. It may not happen tonight, but it probably could happen tonight, and it's in the NFL, and you're going to see it for the next 10 years, and that's coming up. Plus, Jimmy Butler debuted with the Sixers. Some thoughts, not on what's going to happen, big picture, not just last night's loss. 66% of men lose their hair by the age of 35 years old. And if you start to notice it, it's just too late. But there is, thanks to science, baldness can be optional. And there's a one-stop shop right now for hair loss, skin care, and sexual wellness. 4hims.com. These are well-known generic equivalents. All right? All you do, you go online, 4hims.com/Colin, FORHIMS, and you talk to a real doctor. They ask a few questions, and then they prescribe things shipped to your door. This is no awkward in-person doctor visits, no gas station counter supplements. Few quick questions, doctor reviews it, prescribes you products shipped to your door. Right now, they have a $5 free trial, or $5 trial, not free. $5, that's it. Cost you hundreds if you went to a doctor or a pharmacy. Go to 4hims.com/COLIN. 4hims.com/Colin.